So the other day, I saw this ad during a family party, and then immediately it caught my eye. What makes this commercial so special? How do I put this? The ads on the local TV.
Man, that guy is old.
Bruh,
He's so fat too.
hey, he's getting all the girls. What's he got that we don't got?
I have a Fujitsu. Ready to party?
So something good finally comes up. It stands out. For example, a Bank of Hawaii commercial, a Hawaii Tourism Authority commercial, or a Hawaiian airline commercial. King's Hawaiian Bread has some pretty good looking commercials. I think you started to see a trend here. The bigger the company, the better the commercials. Now, I suspect the production quality is really heavily influenced by the budget, and the production quality is oftentimes how we define an ad is good or no. So the premium brands are always going to stay premium, but business that doesn't pay a price for the premium commercials, they just stay where they are.
I have a Fujitsu.
After some research, I found out Spectrum spent somewhere from 60 to 100 million on brands advertising last year. Granted, this includes all the digital, print, and national TV. I think I have a pretty good idea how they shot this $100 million ad with my $50,000 film degree. All right, welcome back to the office. So as you can see, I have a different haircut because it took me this long to actually complete this video, but here we have it on the screen. You can see the ad. Let's watch it from the beginning till the end, and then we'll do frame by frame breakdown. I apologize for the quality of the video. This is the best quality I can find on the internet. Okay, so we see toys, presumably a home, right? We see child, toys moving to the child, child revealing the face, playing on the iPad. Okay, that might not be an iPad.
Automatically. So as soon as you're connected,
Okay, all these magical toys.
For internet with advanced security,
All right.
get Spectrum.
Okay, let's look at our first shot. As the ambulance is driving through the frame, we're moving with it. Maybe we are on a Dana dolly here or some sort of dolly to achieve this smooth tracking effect. Okay, as we look at this shot, we have lights coming down this way, and we have lights coming down this way. And then we're shooting from this angle, so we're shooting from the shadow side of the subject, which makes the subject more three-dimensional. In another word, more cinematic in a way. But that's about it. We can see the light is spilling over onto the this thing right here. It's illuminating the interior a little bit, so we can tell this is probably a house. So as we can see right here, this shot is a little bit more interesting because we are shooting up from down the stairs, and then we have probably one light coming down from the top, and then we'll have one light coming from behind it to illuminate to highlight basically our subject. And we're shooting on the shadow side of the subject again to make it look 3D. Okay, so this next shot right here, we have the toy car crossing the frame. And what makes this shot interesting is not necessarily the lighting, I think. I mean, at the end, you get to see a little bit of our main protagonist, if you will, and she's just sitting there playing with her thing, and then she's highlighted by this presumably a window behind her. So the camera movement here is pretty interesting. So we're tracking on a track, but we're also panning. You know, a simple panning plus tracking in this case can achieve something really cool, right? We're essentially warping around the subject, basically panning the camera as the subject goes across the frame. And let's look at the lighting here real quick. So we can see it's being lit by a very harsh source, probably a window that's illuminating the whole room and then giving this, you know, long shadow behind the truck. Again, we're shooting from this direction, which, you know, still is on the shadow side of the subject. So as you can see, the cheat code really is to shoot on the shadow side. And if you're just starting out, this is probably a shot where you would call it cinematic. Why? Because we see so much blur back here, right? And nothing's overexposed. Everything's pretty evenly lit. Even the shadow, you know, we have a pretty lit shadow on the robot body. The lighting is pretty simple here. We're lit by this one big giant source, and then we just really need to make sure this window right here, we can still see details, right? We can still see some blue, some green stuff. That means, you know, we're matching the exposure outside the window, which means we'll have a fill coming out of this way to fill the robot on this side, so it's not completely a silhouette, because we can still see details in the shadow, right? The camera movement here is very simple. We are pulling away from the robot as it's moving forward. We finally get to see our protagonist's face. Now this shot right here, it's pretty challenging. Why is that? Because we're shooting directly into the light source back here. Now we don't want to overexpose, right? Because overexposed highlight means you don't know what you're doing. Challenging part is on her face here, right? So if we don't add any fill light coming out of this way to fill her shadow, then her whole face will be completely dark, because cameras are not as good as our human eyes, right? This is probably closer to what we can see with our eyes. We might be able to see more details in her face because our brain is processing the image better than the camera. So they probably have to, or anything that can reflect some of the light that's coming from the window back onto her face, or you add a light. And then again, we're shooting on the shadow side of the subject, right? You start to see a pattern here. And then as far as I can tell, it's probably like a candid handheld shot here. All right, so this is essentially the same thing. We're just shooting on the shadow side. Now this shot right here is pretty good looking, isn't it? In this shot, we pretty much decided to embrace darkness. Now we don't have any fill lights coming from this direction, so it's completely in the shadows right here. The figure, the car, the truck, right, all in the shadows. But we can see the huge light source that's over here in the corner that's bringing all the light. Now we're exposing for the outside window, so everything over here, we have details. We have some haze, right? We have some haze in the air. It makes the beam of light visible. And then it softens also. It softens the light. They probably have a huge light out here. They just probably hit it behind this thing. So the concept is you can fake a really good sunlight. All they need to do is bring this huge giant light, tungsten light, come in and then just blast that light. Obviously you have to shape the light a little bit to get these interesting shape, right? And we can see on the wall. I'm suspecting the camera is on the jib. The camera is moving this direction, right, away from us, but it's also looking down. The light is creating some very interesting shadows. Prop team did a great job placing all these props. That's about it. It's a pretty good looking ad, don't you think? They probably don't have to do too much to the existing location, and they just put a little girl in the middle of the floor, give her an iPad. She can just sit there for like 3-4 hours straight. All right, this ad is only 30 seconds. You can just see the amount of work that goes into setting up each shot, right? It's probably like a day or two shoot. Maybe a day, I can get it done in a day, I think. 1, shoot from the shadow side, right? Shoot the opposite of the light source. It's more 3-dimensional, it's more cinematic. And then what else? Put your camera on to something, right? Put it on the track, on a dolly, on the jib, right? Maybe handheld, maybe on the floor, right? Over here. So next time when people ask you, why are you charging so much for this 30-second ad? And it's, pretty short, pretty quick to edit, just quick music, couple of voiceover. You should say to them, why don't you do it yourself?